Hello and welcome to another episode of Death by Bunjie. This is the video that you have been waiting for. What you want to know is, which scope is better, the Burris Oracle X or the Maview CERTIS? We are going to answer that question for you in this video. This guy right here, the Burris Oracle X, Bunjie, the OB, making an appearance in the 60-yard backyard. How cool is that? It's awesome. That's how cool it is. It rises to the level of awesome. You know what I'm saying? This scope I have used on this crossbow and other crossbows on and off for the past 3 years. Like, I've got a lot of experience with this and accomplished some very memorable, great things. Right now, today, the Burris Oracle X is tried, true, and tested. That's a fact. Now, the Maview CERTIS, I got this last week. Do you understand? And I want you to know right off the bat that this is the second one that I've had, because the first one was defective. The electronics, it wouldn't save stuff, it wasn't following the menu options, it was eating batteries, and we'll talk about whether this one is better or not as we go forward in this video. The point being, this is new, right? This is the latest and greatest. There is a risk with any equipment, any cell phone, any car even, with the latest and greatest. So you wouldn't expect much different out of the latest and greatest scope. This is a brand new offering. Let's start with a couple of things about these two scopes that set them apart from all the others on the market, okay? Of all the scopes out there that claim to be range-finding scopes, these two are unique. These two are the most similar. There's scopes out there with rangefinders built into them, like the Buck Ops scope, but they don't actually, they have a rangefinder on there and you can range with it, but it doesn't put a dot on the screen that you use to aim with. Both of these do. Once they are properly sighted in, you can use the 20-yard crosshair as your rangefinder. You click a button on a wireless remote on each one of them, and once you click that button, it will tell you what the distance is on the screen. But it goes a step further, unlike a lot of the other competitor scopes, and each of these will give you a red dot where to aim, and then you aim using that red dot. And if you do, and you set it up properly, and you don't pull the shot like I'm prone to do, you will send that arrow exactly where that red dot is. It's gonna tell you with perfection, right? If it's 23 yards versus 27 yards versus 30. 20, 30, 23 and 27 aren't exactly the same as 20 or 30. This calculates the difference and gives you a precise dot. Both of these scopes do that. Now, I'm happy to say, latest and greatest, I spent a lot of time with these scopes, these Maview CERTISes, far more than I should have, because the first one was defective and I fought with it. And I've been out in the backyard getting this one to work, okay? So far, so good. This one out to 44 yards this afternoon, I shot off my knee with a variety of different arrows. The big test for me to see if this is hunt worthy. I'd like to thank Tidewee for making this possible, my new heated hunting suit. I can be out here and I'm not cold one bit. I don't even need gloves. My core is warmed. It's heated. Oh yeah. Look at that, you can see those blinkers. I love the multicolored ones. Once again, I feel sorry for the folks who don't use lighted nocks. Let me show you what we're doing here, what we did. Look at number 11. Number 11, just so you know, I shot that at 5.4 yards just to make sure that this scope will handle up close and personal, and it will. Very happy to report. Very happy to report. Then I worked my way around the target. That's what I did. My next shot right there was high, but that is number 6, it looks like. That shot was my second shot at 13 yards, just to see if I get up close and personal, a realistic distance with that scope. And sure enough, that's good. A little bit high, but I'm shooting off my knee. This is realistic hunting tests. That's what this is. This one, number 2, 24 yards. This is really what's going to happen out there in the crossbow woods. I'm hitting the bullseye. I'm touching it. I'm happy at 24 yards. That's arrow number 2. So far, these all make the quiver. You know what I'm saying? 11, 6, and 2. They make the quiver. They're contenders. They are contenders. This one right here, what are we looking at? This guy is number 5. Now, number 5 is a little ugly. You know what I'm saying? But we're not going to blame that on poor number 5. In a perfect world, I'd be out here, I'd shoot that thing several times and see if that arrow needs some attention. Does it need the vanes twisted, the knock tune, that sort of thing? I'd play around with it. Here, it's 2 inches to the right, an inch high. That I am certain was me, to be honest with you, because these are all spine indexed arrows and they're shooting out of the SWAT X1. It's not the crossbow, it's not the arrows, but it's Halloween when I'm filming this. Tomorrow is November 1st and it's the rut, and I don't have time to be playing around with field points and fine-tuning my arrows at this point, especially when I have these other contenders. So number 5 is going to sit it out tomorrow. But number 10 is good too. That hits the bullseye. This one was at 44 yards. So at 44 yards off my knee, I'm hitting the bullseye. I can live with that. I'm happy. Boy, I do like those knocks though. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 arrows. I have a 4-arrow quiver. We are good to go with the Enforcer. And for those of us who hunt whitetails, we know that November 1st is kind of a special day, right? You don't want to miss November 1st in the crossbow woods. So we're not going to miss that. We're going to head out there and make the best of it. And I do believe that the Enforcer is up to the task with this scope. The other thing about these two scopes is they are both range finding scopes. You got to check your local regulations, your local laws, your state laws, your federal laws, what have you. But I firmly believe that both of these are legal in like almost all of the United States. If you look at the map of the Burris Oracle X, it tells you the states that where this is legal. And you'll have to check your own laws, but it's legal almost everywhere. Same thing for this. These two are identical in nature in terms of the technology that is in play. They don't have LCD screens like the Garmin, I think, does, and like the Zulu's scopes do, so they don't call into question that kind of law. These are just rangefinders and scopes. If rangefinder scopes are legal where you're hunting, these are most likely legal. I'm not your lawyer, you understand? You have to figure that out for yourself. Some other similarities between these two good scopes. I really like both of them. They both have nearly identical Bluetooth remote controls. And I attached them both in the same place where my left hand holds the foregrip and where my thumb can hit it. And they're out of the way. I put them on there with double-sided tape. Kaboom, they work great. You know, I got no problems with that whatsoever. In my experience, this one comes paired with the scope. This one you had to pair it once you put the batteries in it and everything, but it linked right up, no problem. Once you fire it up, you play with the remote a little bit and it recognizes it and it works. The similarities don't end there. I've commented on this at first blush. They're almost the same scope. Like this one almost seems to have copied the Burris Oracle X in a lot of ways. The reticles are nearly identical. Both of them have fixed reticles in there that are etched into the glass, so you could, in theory, hunt even if your battery is dead. Your 20 should still be dead on, and if you've memorized what the other lines do in either one of these scopes, you could probably hunt with them, you know, if your battery goes dead. I don't think that's ideal. I wouldn't do it. I carry extra batteries with anything, but in my backpack. Both of them have brightness controls. You can make the dot and the stuff, information brighter or dimmer. You can do that on there. Both of them have a little bit of ability to play with it. You can change yards to meters if you're one of those kinds of people. They're also pretty similar, I will say, in terms of the quality of the glass. Neither one of these scopes is a world beater when it comes to the quality of the glass. If you've ever used any Zeiss glass, as a camera guy, guy who does a lot of filming and picture taking and all that stuff, Zeiss glass is like above all the other stuff. And then you got the Sony glass. Then there's everybody else. This is in the everybody else kind of category. I do have scopes that seem to be a lot better than these. My Hawk XB30 Zoom FFP scopes are superior to each of these in terms of the quality of the glass. Far superior in my opinion. The setup, believe it or not, this was marketed in a lot of ways. People talked about this in terms of it's easier to set up than the Burris Oracle X. I disagree. Frankly, the setup is a little bit different because the two scopes are different, they function differently, but the time it takes, the energy it takes, the amount of research you have to do and reading the manual, and the amount of time in the backyard, either one of these is about the same amount of time. Each one of them, either one of them is going to take more time than my Zoom FFP from Hawk. Each one of them takes more time than a speed scope that I've used in the past. I mean, I can sight in a speed scope in as little as 3 shots if you're familiar with your equipment. This guy right here, I could put a the Twilight DLX on Bunjie and hunt with that within an hour, I would be confident that, you know, give me one shot and then I know right what to do with it, right where to turn it, and then the second shot just to confirm it. Like pretty much 2 or 3 shots I could sight this in with a speed scope that I'm familiar with. These, they take some fiddling, okay? Now we're getting into the differences. This scope, what I love about the Burris Oracle X, and what in many ways makes it the king of the hill, is the fact that this creates an individual algorithm for your arrow. The sighting in is a little bit complex because you have to shoot your crossbow at different yardages, which you were gonna do anyway, weren't you, if you're sighting in even your speed scope. Both of these scopes, you sight them in, dial them in perfect at 20 yards. Get those fixed 20-yard reticles perfect with a number of arrows. Take a bunch of shots. Once the 20 is dialed in, that's where they start to deviate. This scope creates an individual algorithm for your arrow, right, that you're using, for the dozen arrows or the quiver full of arrows or the single arrow, what have you, that you are using. What you essentially do is once it's dialed in at 20, you take those arrows, you shoot them at 30, 40, 50, 60, 4 different distances ideally, and it says, look, this is the arc of that particular arrow, that setup of arrow that you are using. Your arrows shoot like this because you shot here, 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 and here. It'll dial it in perfect. Case in point, 81 yards with this old, slow, outdated crossbow. 81 yards, hit a woodchuck right where I was aiming. That was the longest shot I had ever taken in my life with a crossbow. I had never pulled the trigger on an animal or a target at 81 yards. This was sighted in around 60 probably as its max distance, but the scope figured it out. The scope said, nope, if he's hitting these spots at 30, 40, and 60, then he's gonna need this aiming point at 81. And it told me, and I used it, and it worked out perfectly. And that's why I will always have a lot of faith in this scope, especially on this crossbow, the old, slow crossbow that has a real trajectory with its arrow. And I use my own arrows that I build with helicals and with a lot of front of center and a lot of weight up front. And I've got arrows that weigh up to 1,000 grains. This thing can figure those arrows out. They start to differentiate a little bit too here with that. This scope is good from 300 feet per second to 550. And when I say that, it's the actual speed of the arrow, not what the company tells you you're gonna be shooting at. You have to use a chronograph or get a good idea for it, a reality check, to figure out the speed of your arrow. Then when you're sighting in this one, you get the 20 fixed perfectly, but then you go into the menu settings and choose your speed in 5 feet per second increments. This shot 367 with my arrow setup, 489 grains or so, and that was 367 through a chronograph. I chose 365, ended up changing it to 370 because it's 367 is right between 365 and 370. I ended up changing it, but it likes the end result and it's shooting it well. Then what you got to do is shoot it in the backyard after you got the speed set. So you got your 20 set, then your speed set, and then you got to play around with ballistic coefficients. There's various settings, and the reason for that is this does not build an individual algorithm. All those algorithms are already in there as presets, and that ballistic coefficient allows you to choose various presets. You can draw it up 5, down 5, and sort of choose what setting is best for your crossbow and arrow combination. It's still a good system. It's not, you know, push a button and it's done. That's not what it is. It's push a button and you're close, and then you got to play around with it. I firmly believe because of that, you probably can get that 81-yard shot on a woodchuck with this. You can probably get there, but there's one other reason why I don't believe this is as good a long-range option either for those of you into long-range shooting 80 yards or whatever and beyond. This doesn't zoom. This zooms, and I don't know what the zoom is. It's like 2 to 7, I think, or something like that, 2 to 8, I don't know. But this one zooms in and out, and when you zoom, unlike your speed scope, you're changing your accuracy, so don't do that, right? With this, you can zoom in and out, and it's still accurate. It doesn't affect the accuracy whatsoever. This one does not zoom, it's fixed. So you're just looking through it, and I can tell you once you get out to 60 yards, I need a little zoom. This is set at 4, the Hawk XP30 Zoom FFP. I shot 2 deer with that, both of them zoomed all the way in, even at 20 and 32 yards, I was zoomed all the way in. All the way in, like at 8, 7 or 8, right? I love zoomed in. I love it, love it. This, it's gonna work, but I'm not going to be shooting 50 yards with this because it's, you know, it's the dot gets big at that range, and it's, you're covering up the whole shoulder of the deer. Like it's not the precision that you would get with this. On that note, another difference, the crispness of the reticle. This is laser sharp. It is a line, a red line in there, right? The numbers are red lines. The numbers in this one, the Maview CERTIS, are a collection of red dots. And even with my old eyes, it is distracting because I look at it and it looks like an old Pac-Man game, you know what I mean? Hey, it's a ghost, but you look at it real close and it's just a bunch of blue dots. It's not as crisp and clear. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know if that's an improvement. I don't know if it matters to you, but it's something that caught my eye. It's worth mentioning. Other differences. This takes a funky battery. I'll put the number on the screen. I think it's a 123. I have a ton of them. I just went and bought them. This takes a special rangefinder type battery, which I could not find locally. And because I had issues with it, actually, the batteries all went dead and I've only got one. So I got to keep turning it off in order to make sure that I don't run out of battery. On the battery note, two things. One is this one, Burris Oracle X. Pain in the neck to put the battery in and out. I did video after video about this, complaining. If you have one of these, you will want to purchase from Wyvern Creations the battery cap tool, and it will fix all your problems. It's the best one I've used. I've used a handful of those tools from various vendors, and Wyvern's is the best one I have used. It is fantastic. Haven't used all of them, but it's great. Did other videos on that. Check them out. This one, the battery cap is as it should be. You just unscrew it, put the battery in, screw it back in. I haven't had real trouble with it, but David from Wyvern Creations tells me make sure that you tighten that cap well so the battery doesn't have any movement on the inside. That can affect the performance of the scope, so screw it down tight. You can put a penny in there and turn it, or the tool that comes with it, put it in there and turn it, whatever you got to do. Belt batteries, right? The original one stayed on all night, batteries went dead. Wouldn't save. Probably because the batteries were partially dead. These are lithium batteries that want CR2s, I think they're called. And if they're a click down, they're about worthless. So, and I've noticed in this one too, those 123s, the batteries in this, if they start to go dead, you might as well just change it because they're gonna die quick. Same thing with this one. The battery indicator, even that on the screen is the same. They look so similar on the inside. But the battery indicator, once it starts to go, you better get another battery in it. Both of them do save the settings. You don't have to re-sight in the scope after the battery goes dead or after you change the battery. I know that for a fact because this thing I just shot in the backyard dead on. I'm totally satisfied with it, but I had it shut off all night long. It is supposed to, this one times out after a period of time, like 30 minutes or something. This one's supposed to time out and go to sleep after 15 minutes to where you can wake it up with the remote, or shut off after 45 minutes according to the manual. Neither one of mine shut off. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if that was their plan originally when they typed up the manual, or if I've got another dud that does not shut off, but it does not shut off. You have to remember to shut this off, or when you come back, it will be dead. It's that simple. And I don't like that because I can't remember to shut that off all the time. How many times you've been out there with your speed scope and the illuminated reticle thing, the next time you go out to hunt, you left it on, right? Like, I'm not thinking about that right now. I shouldn't have to think about that, especially when it says you don't have to think about that, especially when the manual says it's gonna time out and shut off on you. It doesn't. Another difference, speaking of power, with this guy, when it is off, and I'm gonna test it right now. This thing, in a matter of 2 seconds, right? Easily less than 2 seconds. It was a dead sleep. I pushed the button, turned it on, looking through it, and as soon as I go to range, it's ranging. Do you understand? It's on, it's ready to hunt, ready to kill something. And then push the button and it ranges perfectly, right? Right off the bat. This one, it should be dead, it should be off. Is off right now, and what happens is you'll come down, there's a red dot in there, which tells me that it's still on, right? And that's what, it's talking to the remote, and it's running, and the remote battery went dead on this, the other one, because it's talking to each other, and it runs the batteries dead. So you gotta change both batteries. It's a pain in the neck. This one, still clicking. There, All right, so what was that, 8 seconds or something? This one, when it is in a dead sleep, will take a little longer to boot up. I don't know why. It takes longer to boot up and then range, okay? And hopefully it's still got a full battery. And it does, it has a full battery. But it ranged the back of the yard, no problem. But it took about 8 seconds. I'm gonna shut it off because I don't want the battery going dead. I'm out of batteries. So like this thing I got other batteries on order, but I don't want to be hunting tomorrow and I have a battery. So I'm shutting it off. Probably should take it out. So when we talk about smaller, faster, lighter, denser, cheaper, faster, not so much, right? I don't know if it's an improvement. It's not faster. They're both laser range finders. They both are extremely fast. They both range at the speed of light. You push the remote button and both of them will give you an instant reading once they are booted up, but this boots up slower. So let's talk about smaller, faster, lighter, and denser, shall we? That's how we measure improvements in technology, according to me, according to Bunjie, right? Some people are like,
well, where's that come from?
Well, it comes from a book I read. And it makes sense to me, and that's why I talk about it, right? Because we generally do want things that are a little bit smaller, faster, lighter, denser, and cheaper, right? We do. We'll start with smaller. This is smaller. Smaller. It is 12 inches or so, 11 3/4 long. This one is like 9. Okay, so it's 3 inches smaller. And I gotta tell you, I have shot, this is a SWAT X1, the Enforcer. Oh yeah. Does it look like it's made for there or what? I mean, this is perfect, right? This is perfect. Nobody will complain about the size of this scope. I think it does sit up a little higher than your other scopes. You might need a little bit extra cheek help here, right? But not a big deal. And on a SWAT, it works perfectly. And that was my intended crossbow for it, because this is a sub 400 feet per second crossbow, and it needs a range finding scope because at slower speeds you got a greater arc, and the difference between 25 and 30 can be a little bit greater, and this scope helps me fix that problem. So smaller, yes, this is smaller. Faster, no, this one is faster in terms of booting up at least, but both of them are, in terms of fast, that to the extent that fast applies, they're very similar. Smaller, faster, lighter. This one's about a 1/2 pound lighter. This is a heavy guy, it's almost 2 pounds, right? This is about 1.5 pounds, so it's almost 1/2 pound lighter or so. And it does, on here, this is a one-handed shooting thing, except for the remote, you need the other hand anyway, but it does work nice, I love it. When it works, it works great, right? Denser, that's features. And I gotta tell you, there's one thing with these scopes where I really don't want. I don't want more features, right? This is adequate features on both of them. They both do the same thing, right? They both range and tell me where to aim. And that's the only feature I need. So denser is like feature rich. I really don't need more features. They've improved the battery compartment on this. This is better in that sense. So that's an improvement in terms of features. The sighting in, I won't say that the sighting in of this is better than this. It's not. It's really, they're different. Not better, it's just different. So to me, that's a wash. So feature-wise, this does tell you the drop on the screen. Not sure why I care about that. My joke is that the crossbow needs to know that, not me. I don't need to know that. You just figure it out. Give me a dot, that's all I want. So feature-wise, I think it's a wash. Smaller, faster, lighter, denser, and cheaper. This is $7.99. My nephew bought one for $7.49 locally, listed at $7.99. This one can be bought for as much as $1,000, but I'm telling you, if you can buy a used one for 500 bucks, it has a forever warranty. It's not a lifetime warranty. It's not limited. It's not to the original purchaser. It is a forever warranty. If this thing stops working, I can be online with Burris, get a return authorization within a day, have this shipped to them at their expense, and they will, at their expense, fix it and ship it back to me. They either fix it or send me a new one. And it has worked for me time and time again, because I was in on the ground floor of these things when they first came out, and I had some buggy ones, just like this one was a little buggy. Right? And that company, that warranty on there is without peer. There is no other warranty out there that touches this. So for 500 bucks, I would just buy another. I wouldn't hesitate to buy another used Oracle X. I wouldn't need a new one because I've had enough of them, right? One time I had 8 boxes behind me. I think I've gone through, I think this is the 8th one that I've had I think I've had a total of 8 of them. But that forever warranty is just the best. This is a lifetime warranty, limited lifetime warranty to the original purchaser, I believe. Check it out, read the fine print. There isn't a lot written on these things, right? There's not. But read the fine print. It's the latest and greatest. You're kind of buying it at your own risk. Low light, I've shot stuff right up to dark with this, and this I was shooting in the backyard right up to dark. They're about comparable on that as well. I have another video coming where I'm going to compare all of my scopes. I'm going to bring them out here. I'm going to shut off all the floodlights, and I'm going to sit here in the dark, and from sunset until the end of legal shooting light, I'm just going to keep looking through scopes and taking notes and compare them and rank them, right? Just to see how they rank. And if I get Genevieve to do that with me, if she's not out trapping or something, we will compare notes, and you get two sets of eyes on that, and we'll see where we go. This one has a built-in level, and for backup, Bunjie always carries an additional level to make sure I'm not canting the crossbow. You know what I'm saying? That level, I can peek down here. It's a good setup. I can peek down here with my eye as I'm looking through the scope, just peek down here and make sure I'm not canting the crossbow. And it gives me a little bit extra confidence beyond what level is provided within the scope. This one does not have a level, and that's a feature, so it's a little bit less dense, another feature that we don't have on this scope. And now for the ultimate question, which one should you buy? Because that's why you're watching this video, right? Well, I can tell you this. I'm filming this video on Halloween 2025. I've had that scope for a week, that one for 3 years. And right now this week, if you're looking to buy one of these scopes, I will tell you, you should buy. We're getting ready to wrap up the morning here, me and the enforcer with the CERTIS scope. And I wanted to talk a little bit before I get out of here about the answer to that question. I didn't like the way I worded it. When I went to edit the video, I'm like, that ain't gonna, it's too complex a question, right? There's a lot of variables. So I'm gonna try again. The short answer right now, if you're looking to buy a range finding scope, I think this is the one to buy. I do prefer it overall to the Burris Oracle X. It's smaller, it's lighter, and it's cheaper. And other than that, it's basically got the same options, right? It's kind of like the same scope. I've had some issues with it already, right? But I'm working that out and learning more about it, and that's what makes this answer so complex. You can't just try something out one time and say it's good or bad. You have to live with it and continue to test it and continue to learn about it, and that's what I'm doing. So that's what you get from Death by Bunjie. You don't get a polished, all your answers in one video kind of video. You get me testing it out and learning as we go. This is just week 2 with this scope, and I love it so far. I've been playing around with it this morning, and it's kind of re-excited me about the range-finding scopes, because I can range Buckley out there, my decoy, I can range the other end of the food plot, and I can tell you that on this crossbow, shooting 367 feet per second at launch, this crossbow and arrow combination, I was able to range it out to about 135 yards and still have a dot in the reticle. Beyond that, the 4X zoom loses it. So on this crossbow, if you have a faster crossbow, you can probably range even further. Now I can range out to 150, 160, 200 yards, whatever, 1,000 yards probably, but you can't get a dot on the screen. I'm sure you can get it accurate out to 135 yards, but that's not, for me, that's not really my interest in it. My interest with this setup, my interest with this scope is to hunt, right? I'm a crossbow hunter, first and foremost. And this scope is perfect for crossbow hunting on this setup. If you got a really fast crossbow, you're shooting 450 feet per second, let's say, maybe range finding scopes aren't for you. It might be a little bit overkill. But for most of us, shooting the modern speeds around 400 feet per second and anything under 400 feet per second, I think a range finding scope is a great option. And this, right now, is the one I would pick. I'll continue to report back on this, and so will the rest of the world. And next year, maybe you buy one of these things and you got lots of information on which to make a proper decision. I have talked long enough. I'm losing my voice. Thank you for tuning in. Good luck out there in the crossbow woods. And until next time, all hail Bunjie.